The It Gets Better video started actually from a paramedic who was a friend of mine and approached me saying that she had seen some of these videos and she had seen that the NYPD had done one, and she was saying that, you know, it was really inspiring and that she was wondering if the FDNY would be behind it. And being that I had a little bit of experience with headquarters and sort of the behind the scenes work doing LGBTQ outreach, I told her I would look into it. And the department was really supportive of it, and they thought the idea was great. So the ball just sort of started rolling and picked up speed pretty quickly. The response was really amazing. The department really loved it and embraced it. I had people from the department telling me how wonderful it was. I had members of the department emailing me saying, you know, this made such a big difference. You know, I have a son or I have a daughter or you know, or even, you know, my mom or dad or someone is LGBTQ, and how it was just really, it meant something to them that it came from the FDNY. So that was really good. And then outside of the FDNY, the response was really great too. It was covered in a lot of different places. HuffPost covered it, The Advocate covered it, it was covered in AOL, you know, it was covered in a lot of sort of wide-reached audiences, which is sort of wonderful. And I think the fact that it came from the FDNY, such a sort of respected institution, sort of added a little oomph to it, and hopefully that helped. Hopefully it helped make a bit of a difference. It's definitely not always easy. The firehouse is, it's sort of a very intimate setting. It's not like a lot of jobs. You know, you cook together, you eat together, you know, you stay there overnight. You sometimes are working with these people for 24 hours at a time. So it provides a lot of sort of close relationships with different people. And so in the FDNY, currently there's 49 women out of a workforce of over 10,500. So there's not a lot of women on the job, and I'm the only out trans woman in the fire department. So that sort of, it provides a little bit of a disconnect sometimes between you and your coworkers. But I've been really fortunate to have really good places to work, and to have good relationships with some of my coworkers. That definitely takes the stress off sometimes. But there are definitely educational moments that happen all the time. And I think it's just because, you know, when it comes to LGBTQ people, we've certainly gained a lot more attention towards the L, the G, and the B in recent decades, but the T is sort of still sort of behind. So there's definitely a lot of educational moments that happen in the firehouse just with people who have never met a trans person before, or, you know, don't know sort of what it means. And I've been fortunate that in the firehouse I'm in now, I've been there for a little over 3 years, and I've been fortunate in that time that there have been some people who have been really receptive and really good about sort of learning what it means to be trans, and sort of, you know, just sort of how to interact with the trans person. There's actually an organization in the fire department, an affinity organization called Fire Flag, and it's a fraternal group for LGBTQ firefighters, EMTs, paramedics. And that has been around actually for over a decade. I think it's coming up on 15 years now. So that organization's been around for a while. And then on top of that, the commissioner of the fire department actually 2 years ago marched for the very first time with the FDNY in the Pride Parade in Manhattan. So that was a big moment for us. The department had marched in that parade for many, many, many years before, but it was the first time that the commissioner had marched with us. And he continued that tradition this year, so that was really wonderful. And then on top of that, just, you know, the department has been, in the 5 years since I have come out as trans, the department has been completely supportive, and I sort of unofficially took on a lot of the LGBTQ outreach before I actually was given the title, and the department was always very supportive of anything that I wanted to do in terms of speaking out and sort of gaining attention towards the needs of the LGBTQ community, and the department was always very supportive of whatever they could do to help that cause. I've spoken to kids at the Harvey Milk High School who are on the gender variant spectrum. I am currently working on partnerships with the Hetrick Martins Institute. We have done things with the LGBT Center. We're working on doing things with all of the centers in the boroughs that have centers. We have some plans coming up with the Staten Island Center and more stuff with the center in Manhattan. So I don't know, there's sort of a lot going on. We're going to be at the LGBT Expo, which we usually do, but we're hoping to sort of up our game a little bit, so there are talks to sort of have a bunch of different FDNY spotlights there and provide some really good things for the attendees of that expo. So it's almost a little intimidating that the It Gets Better video was so good, because it's like, well, what do you do next? But luckily, as I said, the department is really supportive and really totally behind moving forward with the LGBTQ outreach and with developing stronger connections with the community and hopefully making a difference for the better. I've been contacted by a firefighter from Canada, and the language barrier there was a little fun. It was like trying to, the French to English. It was like, okay, but that was great. I've talked to firefighters from sort of all over, probably at least 2 or 3 major cities, where, sometimes firefighters will contact me, sometimes people from the department will contact me and say, hey, we have a firefighter who's going through this, how was it for you? How did the FDNY handle it? What was good? What wasn't good? What should we do and what shouldn't we do? So in some ways it's been eye-opening for me, and in some ways it's been just really an amazing feeling to be able to feel like making a difference and feel like you have the opportunity to help someone else who's going through something. You've been there, you've been there and done that, and some of the struggles that you can possibly go through, and to make that hopefully a little bit easier for someone else. Sort of the whole point, I feel like, for me.